Frank Ranks Week 31. We're going to talk about Marvel, DC, Independence, and we're going to rank 10 books. What's going to end up on top? Let's find out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yep, just wrapped on our last film for Tubi on Friday, called Gangsta's Daughter 4. I know we have another one coming up in a couple of months as well. So we got a bunch of stuff going on, but I'm going to be launching my own comic this week, so stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about that in the middle of this video. But let's jump right into number 10. So I'm like a week behind on some of this stuff because I was on the movie, so I didn't get a chance to read a whole bunch of stuff. But this is all the stuff that I've read this week. All right, so it may not be coming out this week, but it's what I read this week. All right, and number 10 is an independent book, and if it has a little sticky on it, that means I read it digitally. All right, so number 10, and I have no place to stick that, so I'm just going to put it to the side, is an independent book called Last Boy. It is the story of Peter Pan, and is number 5, issue 5. And throughout the entire thing, we had Peter Pan, who is not written like Peter Pan. I mean, everybody's older but him. So Captain Hook was like 70 years old, and he forced him to walk the plank and get eaten by the crocodile. And the guy didn't do anything wrong. I mean, nothing. He accused him of stealing stuff from from Tiger Lily's tribe, and he's like, "Man, I made a deal. I didn't steal anything. This is all stuff I paid for." And Tiger Lily agreed that he had, and he still killed him. So bad. So then he ends up fighting against this shadow creature with a scythe and a cape and a crown that dangles like above his head, so it's like levitating above his head. And so he ends up fighting the guy and losing, and then he goes back to fight him again, and the shadow creature cuts his hand off. So now Peter Pan has no hand. Meanwhile, we have Wendy, who's betrothed to someone. Her mother really wants her to get married. She's trying to publish her book. She's not in love with this guy. So there's that whole storyline up to this point. And in this one, he's like, "Where's my hand? Where's my hand?" And Smee's like, "Yeah, it's gone, man. I don't know what to tell you." So anyway, he goes to fight the shadow creature again. But this time he says, "What are you going to fight me with?" And he pulls out a thing of thread, because it's obviously his own shadow. What's with the cape and the scythe? And that made no sense. This is by Dan Panosian, and it made absolutely zero sense. And so he's like, so I guess that the thing just submits to him, and he sews it back onto himself. Wow, you can't get any more anticlimactic than that. And suddenly Captain Hook is alive again. I didn't understand any of it. And then he realizes that he has to finally grow up, and he ends up at Wendy's house because she tells the guy she can't marry him. It was a mess. It was a mess. It's a mess of a story. It is not good. You can stay away from it. All right? So that's why it's number 10 on this list. Okay, going on to number 9, another independent, because that's I truthfully, I don't really have everything here. I have is independent books for the most part. I think I got one Marvel. Yeah, I got one Marvel, and that's pretty much it. All right, so this one is what I got from Kickstarter, and this is Lady Mechanica. I do have it signed by Joe Benitez. And this is the Mechanical Menagerie numbers 1 and 2. And this was written by an actual cohort of mine Madeline Holly Rising, Holly Rosing, Holly Rosing. I always get that wrong. And but anyway, she's part of the group in LA that I belong to. So I'm not really friends with her, but I've met her several times and spoke with her and stuff like that. So this, because she's never written one of these before. She has her own series, and I guess Joe Benitez tapped her to write this one. And usually it's a woman named Chen. Her last name's Chen. I remember her first name. Usually writes these, and it's usually dialogue heavy, but there's some action in it. This one is all dialogue heavy, just like she normally writes, with no action. There's literally no action in here. And it's basically about, Lady Mechanica and her group. She is hooked back up with the detective from Scotland Yard, because it's a steampunk story. And they're going around trying to figure out what happened with a death or whatever. I forgot what it was that they were investigating. But anyway, they're on their own thing, and then Fred and I forgot the name of the professor, but they end up going and finding a shut down amusement park that was all run by automatons. So it was all animal automatons, and the owner of that. So they just sneak in because it's abandoned. They think it's abandoned. But no, the guy is still there, and it happens that the professor can fix the automatons. So that's what happens, but it ends up that the owner has his own nefarious things, and because he, I guess the guy that was creating all the toys, the automaton toys, he was this guy's ex-partner, and this guy still holds a grudge, and there's a whole lot of little things going on. But no, there's zero action, and it's just this very slow type of story. And that's how she normally writes her own things with Tesla and stuff like that. But anyway, so I'm not sure exactly that she's a good fit for Lady Mechanica. But anyway, it was just a little bit too slow for me, with no payoff after, 48 pages. So, all right, so jumping on to number 8. This is one I read digitally, and it's another independent, and that was Oz Tablet of Destiny. So this was the story of, I think it's Zenoscope that's doing these, and Dorothy, wears, little short little skirt and stuff like that, and the Cowardly Lion is more humanoid and carries a sword and stuff like that. But anyway, so Glinda has been turned evil, so she's fighting against that, and I forgot the Melora or something like that. And then there's, I think Mombi's in this. But anyway, all of Oz, including Emerald City, is getting basically laid waste to, and she's trying to stop everything from happening. And they're just getting, their butt kicked, but they finally turn Glinda back. So it's got some good stuff in it, but again, we really like the main characters that I want to see, which is Tin Man, Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion. They really don't have anything to do here. They don't really get anything done. So they're kind of wasted characters here. And Toto's a wolf and stuff like that. But it's interesting, but I just don't. I think it's kind of a little bit of wasted material in here, where they could have gone just a little bit tighter to the source material. But it's fun. It's a fun read. It's just there's not much to it. Okay, number 7, another independent, and this is one I ended up buying at a convention from the Soska sisters. This is Yara. This is a 90-page book. So I think it's 1, 2, and 3 in here, or something to that effect. And you can see. Actually, you can't see because I put it up on the thing already. This is signed by both of them because I'm actually going to be possibly working with them on some horror stuff, on some films. I know they want to shoot here in Atlanta, and I'm trying to raise some money for some horror stuff as well, in which case they'd be directing, so I'm working on that. But anyway, so I love them to death. I think they're great. Of course, they're from Canada. and so I obviously don't see them very often because they don't not anywhere near me. But yeah, we've done some Zoom calls, things to that effect. But this is the story of Yara, who is from another planet. She escaped the planet and is now here on Earth. And this is the story of I forgot the name of the superhero group from Rippaverse, who's also after them. They're kind of like a superhero police force, and they're trying to stop her because she's basically a villain. And there's another person that has exactly the same powers she has that she doesn't know how she got them because she was like a thief to begin with. And that's my only problem, is that there's really no likable characters in this whole thing. But anyway, it was smart that so yeah, she has these bounty hunters or whatever else, these higher echelon people from her home planet that have tracked her down on Earth and are going to kill her. And she keeps escaping, but she decides that she's going to present herself, and this way both of them can fight each other, both sets of her enemies, which was kind of smart. I think that's kind of smart writing. But I don't know anything about Yara, we do have some flashbacks later, way later on in the story. I think that they needed more of her backstory up front, because maybe that would have made me like her. At this point, I have no idea who this character is. Still, even with those little flashbacks, I have no idea who this character is or why I'm rooting for her or anything. This is not an origin story. So that's my only critique about it. The artwork is very good, but my only critique is I don't know who this person is, and we don't get enough information about her. Okay, and moving on to number 6. This is the only Marvel book I bought, and it's not even from this year. So this is Marvel Chillers presents Tigra from 1976, written by Chris Claremont, who is, if you know anything about Chris Claremont, he is basically the person that made X-Men what they are today. So he's a very, very famous comic book writer. And as you can see from the cover, this is Tigra. Her name is Greer. And I'm a big Tigra fan. That's why I love the fact that she is in Moon Knight as one of the things. But this is a totally different character. It's the same character, but it's written like her personality and everything is completely different in this book than it is in the present day book, because she was part of the West Coast Avengers and all this stuff. She's, since the 70s, she definitely has evolved as a character. And I bought this off eBay, and I didn't really pay anything for it, but this is all destroyed here. But anyway, the guy who sold it to me didn't even put it in like bag of board or anything. He just kind of shoved it in an envelope, and whatever happened to it happened to it. He just didn't care. So I thought that was pretty shitty. But anyway, she's trying to stop Craven from kidnapping this doctor who was supposed to juice him up or whatever. I can't remember what the doctor was. But we had some really good fight scenes in here, and Craven's got his little cronies and stuff like that. So it's had some good action in it. I like the fact that Craven was in here, and she then ended up beating Craven, but he kicked her ass originally. So we did get a little bit of a tit for tat in here. So and Chris Claremont knows how to write, so he created a little bit of a backstory for her in this, and he has a whole bunch of inner monologue in here. But it's just the personality of her is different than what it is in the comics today. It was interesting to see. And 25 cents was the original price on this. Pretty cool. Okay, before we move on to the final 5, remember too that if you want to give a thumbs up to me, I would appreciate it. So click that little icon down there. And if you want to subscribe, please do. I do movie reviews and comic book reviews and all that stuff, unboxings, anything to do with pop culture for the most part. So definitely subscribe, ring that bell, ding, ding, and share this video out there. Plus, remember, too, that I'm a writer myself, so check out my stuff on Amazon. Just type my name in or click the link in the description below, including my 4-novel quadrilogy sci-fi epic called Destiny Aurora. It was made into a board game, an RPG, a graphic novel. And of course, as I said, it's on four. It has 4 different novels with it, so they're all continuous story. And it's also on Audible. All my books are also on Kindle. So if you want to check out my fantasy novel, it's called Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. So if you like dragons and magic systems and all that stuff, you're going to love that one. And also the book that I am releasing, the comic I am releasing this week on Kickstarter. It's called Fairy Tales of Terror. So I have my own Tiger Lily in there as well. She is tracking down a psycho Cinderella and a Captain Hook who is killing people right and left with this elongated hook. Gave him a little fire fairy, but anyway, they come out of novels into New York City, and they are on their own little path of a motivation that we don't know at this point. But anyway, Tiger Lily hooks up with the bookstore owner, and they are tracking these people through New York City, and then in the bloody wake that they leave. So definitely check that out. You can go to the QR code here or the link description below. You can sign up now because it'll notify you when I do launch. I have over 550 people right now waiting for that to happen. All right. So let's jump into the final 5. Another independent, because this was my only Marvel, so there's no real mystery about who's going to be number 1, whether it's Marvel, DC, or independent, because I don't have any. All right, and that is called Escape, and I think this is by the same writer, The Sacrificers. It'll come to me. But I was reading, so this is the story of like a World War II airplane force. I don't know if it was the whole Air Force, but they're going in there with bombers, and they're just getting ripped to hell, and it's just a series of bombers, and they're, whoever makes it to the drop zone first, and they're trying to drop the bombs on their target, and the planes get downed and stuff like that. So basically, it's a war book. And remember, that's Rick Remember. I think that's the name of the writer. And so I read the back. So all of the characters in here are animals, right? So they're not humans piloting these planes; they're animals. And so we have dogs and whatever else that's in here. And then of course they make them all look human, but they're animals, as if you're watching a Disney cartoon. And he wrote in the back, because I read his stuff, his foreword or his posting in the back, and he said the reason I did this with animals, and he did the same thing I think with Under the Trees with Nobody Sees. I think that's him too. Maybe not, but that's how that was animals instead of humans. And he says that since they're animals, people have more of an affinity to connect with animals, which is why he did it that way. I don't agree in the least. I am not more connected with characters that are animals than if they're humans. I don't know where he got that information, but I don't think it's true. I'm not more connected with a Disney movie that's Zootopia than I am with a live action movie. No. No. That's not how it works, man. So I wish that that's why this was a lot of people's like number 1 for the week, and not for me. For me, it even was probably too high, being at 5. I like the storytelling in it. I think that the artwork was good, but the fact that it was animals knocked it down for me. I didn't connect because they were animals. I rather read a story about humans. So whoever is giving him that advice, it's incorrect, man. It is incorrect. All right. I don't know if I'm going to continue reading it or not, but I guess we'll see. Okay. Number 4. And that is Geiger, number 17. Geiger is a really, really good book by Jeff Johns. It is, if you're not reading it, then you should. And because all these top 4 men are all excellent books. It was very hard for me to figure out who to place where. But Geiger is a great book. I started reading it much later on. But again, they're only on 17, so I think I missed the very beginning of it. But this is a post-apocalyptic world where the main character is irradiated with, obviously, radiation. and he has so he turns into this glowing man that you can see basically his bones, and he has two rods that go into literally into his back that absorb the radiation. But when he takes them, I guess they go into his skin or whatever. Because when he removes them, he starts to glow again. So he only looks human when he has the rods back there. And we just had a really good arc with Dale. I keep wanting to say Dale Arden, but I know that's not it. It's something, not Dale Arden, but something Arden. Audrey Arden or something like that. But I can't forget her first name. But anyway, she had the same power as he did, and she had an amazing plan to make him absorb everything, including her radiation. But then when he couldn't take it, she ended up drawing it back into her, and she just disappeared. So the guy that's kind of caused a lot of this, his name is Molotov, like the cocktail, I guess. And anyway, he's in a radiation suit, and they're trying to just go on this, go past this kind of, I guess, desert or whatever. But haphazardly, they get attacked by these bandits, and they have a two-headed dog named Barney, and then a Zigzag, I think, is the name of the zebra. So we have animals in here, like mutated animals in here as well. But anyway, so he ends up exploding, and all that's left of him in the last issue was just like a mark in the ground. So he kills all the bandits there and else, but he's just in the ground. He's just marking like, what happened? Did he disintegrate? And I guess the explosion knocked him in the air, and he landed up somewhere else, where he ends up getting captured, and he has no powers. He can't turn green anymore. So he's captured. He can't glow anymore, and he's like, why am I not? Where's my rods? And why am I still human if I'm not don't have my rods in? So it's good stuff. I like how Jeff Johns is a really good writer anyway. He just can't write movies. Because I believe he was the writer of the really bad Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. But I got to say that Stargirl, I thought Stargirl was good. So he did that one too. But yeah, he's a really good comic writer. I'll put it that way. He's a really good comic writer. And yeah, can't wait to see where this keeps going. And so Geiger is number 4. Okay, here's another one that I read digitally, and this is number 3, and this is G.I. Joe number 10. So this is the story of the Baroness is part of the G.I. Joe group right now. Of course, we know that's going to change. She is fighting against Major Blood. She needed some time away so she could check on her parents who are in France, in Paris, and she ends up finding them, but also Major Blood and Raptor, which is this vulture-looking guy, end up attacking them, and Major Blood wants revenge for her taking his eye. So she is with CoverGirl, so they're both in this pit, and he tells CoverGirl to take the Baroness's eye out. So she stabs the Baroness by the end of that one, and we know there's like a plan involved here. But things are getting messy, and they end up fighting continuously in the pit, and Blood is like, no, you have to take her eye, out, blah, blah, or else I'm going to kill her parents or whatever. So he's got this thing going on. Meanwhile, the girls are trying to figure out a way to not kill each other and still get out of there. But anyway, so she ends up killing CoverGirl. And when Major Blood comes down to check the body, he gets attacked, and she gets CoverGirl out of there to go deal with her parents, who is now about to get attacked by Raptor. And now we have Blood and Baroness about to fight in the pit now. Good stuff. It's really good. I like it a lot. I think it's Joshua Williamson writing it, I believe. So, good stuff. I love G.I. Joe anyway. I'm not really a big fan of Transformers. I'm just more of a fan of G.I. Joe. Okay, and now we bring us to number 2, and you're going to be surprised that anybody who's been watching this channel continuously, you're going to be surprised by this. And number 2 is Space Ghost, who is normally number 1, but this is Volume 2, number 1 by Papose, who I did meet at a convention. He signed one of my other ones for me. I bought a graphic novel from him for the first portion of Space Ghost. And I love this a lot. I love the cartoon back in the day, and this is better because of the fact that it at least takes the character seriously. So we had this number one because he completed the arcs. This is volume 2 because he completed the whole arc, including a annual where he was fighting everybody, which is great. So now he's got to tend to the kids, right? So you have Jan and Jace are the kids, and then you have Blip, which is a monkey that has a chip in them or whatever else that makes them be able to think and communicate, etc. So the kids are seeing their grandfather, who is telling them that he's going to go live with them. Meanwhile, the kids aren't having any of it, especially Jan, who is going to go back to Space Ghost. Meanwhile, the story is told back and forth, where the Space Ghost is fighting against the toy maker. So I thought that was really good. He's outsmarting the toy maker as well as he goes. Really good, plenty of good action and everything else while we're having this emotional story of them reconnecting with the grandfather and basically telling him that no, we cannot come live with you because we have to go back with Dax, and Dax is Space Ghost's real name or whatever. So, and trying to proclaim love for this guy Dax who took them in, and they're not going to abandon him, and the grandfather's just going to have to live with that. And meanwhile, at the same time, Space Ghost is fighting the toy maker. Really, really good stuff. It's well written, and definitely I suggest reading it if you've never read it. It's good stuff, and there's a couple of graphic novels out already if you like to see the collection. All right, so number one, well, we can't say it's Marvel, we can't say it's DC because we know it's independent. Actually, it's another Kickstarter book, which is unusual because usually the Kickstarter books are not very good. But this one I've been reading for a long time already. I think I've read collections from this guy, and I bought his board game, all this stuff. And if you're not reading this, you should. It's called The Few and the Cursed. As you can see, this is another whole story called The Great Deluge, and this is part 4 of that. The main character she has no name. Her name is Red. So this is a supernatural Western, and if you know anything about me, you know I love supernatural Westerns, as I produced one with Eric Roberts and Marty Cove from Cobra Kai. I have my own movie that's supernatural Western. And this is a post-apocalyptic world where there's magic, right? And these characters are cursed, and if they're cursed, they're basically monsters, and these cursed hunters go after them. So she lost her eye in some kind of one of the fights in the previous issues. There's been at least 5 stories at this point, so this is not a new book at all. He makes a lot of money off Kickstarter, that's for sure, with this particular character. But it's a post-apocalyptic world where the water is like currency. Okay, so because there's no water, everything's very desert. But anyway, she is on this train that's like a ghost train. And because they had this seed in their hand, the ghosts weren't able to touch them. But then she ends up losing it, and they're all coming after her. Meanwhile, she's fighting this other guy that has a mask on as well. Really, the action is just great. And then you have the crows, and the crows are they were like the first storyline. So they're children that transform. So one of the little girls keeps following her around, and and she's one of the crows, and they need to get on the train, but the only way to do that is to be dropped from the air. But meanwhile, there's another cursed hunter there named Alistair who wants to kill her, and she's like, no, she's just a kid, she's fine, she's not hurting anyone. And so he semi-agrees at this point, but she doesn't trust that she's still not going to go after the kid. Anyway, really good stuff. I really like the world building in here, and I thought it was really good. And the artwork is amazing. All right, well, that's it for me. There's probably a bunch of books in here you've never heard of, but a lot of some of the ones here on the front here you should definitely read if you're not collecting them, or if you're. And then if you just want to get the collected things, like Few and the Cursed has collections, Space Ghost has a collection, G.I. Joe has a collection, and Geiger has a collection. So the top 4 you can buy if you don't like reading individual issues, you can buy a collected. All right. So that's it for me. So I could talk about comics all day and stories and all that stuff, but let's end it here. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding ding. Share this video out there so you can see what normies. Maybe the normies don't know what's going on out in the comic world. Maybe they want to take a look at it too. And on top of that, remember too to check out my stuff on Amazon. Type my name in or link in the description below. And definitely jump in on Fairy Tales of Terror. I'm hoping to launch tomorrow, which is today if I get this thing edited. And the QR code is here and link in the description below. It's going to be great. I'm hoping for a really good campaign. Have a great week, and I will see you on the next one. All right, bye-bye.